Sunset Time by Albinocorn. Chapter 7 Event Horizon. Crisis in Clydesdale! Princess Twilight Sparkle and various elements of harmony nearly fall to their deaths. First library Clydesdale story. What started as a normal day in Clydesdale descended into pandemonium as Pegasus eyewitnessed the destruction of one of the city's closest buildings. It was awful, one eyewitness said. I just saw the entire library turn dark and start expanding into a thundercloud. Then the entire structure just fell in on itself. Within the destruction of Clydesdale's most treasured store of knowledge, every book inside was tragically burnt to ashes. While no pony was killed, librarian Milky Way was severely burnt during the incident. He was not available for comment. Newly coordinated Princess Twilight Sparkle, who had just rescued her friends from the abnormal fire, had this to say. I am truly sorry for Clydesdale's loss of literature and culture. My friends will do everything to make sure that this crime does not go unpunished. When pressed for further details, Princess Twilight said, well, to put it frankly, it was a terrorist attack by a pony named Vesper Radiance. All I can really say is she's trying to usurp the throne. When asked how or why, the princess would not give a direct answer. Not long after Princess Twilight Sparkle had left the library and met up with her friends, the rest of the Bears of Harmony eyewitnesses reported a mysterious red light hitting all those who did not have wings once they had dropped through the cloud house. It's that loud! One second they were there, the next they just vanished. Clydesdale native Rainbow Dash, best known for being the only Pegasus to pull off a sonic rainbow and Fluttershy, along with the princess, drove after her friends after a heroic act of rescue. What happened beneath the clouds is a mystery, but all ponies to Dragon came back safe and sound. Afterwards, they had a brief encounter with the pony calling herself Vesper Radiance, whose appearance was completely obscured by her cloak. The enigmatic pony then proceeded to teleport away. The Elements of Harmony left Clydesdale without giving any comments about the situation. No doubt Princess Celestia and Princess Luna will have more to say about this dangerous turn of events. Who is this best for ladies? How far is she willing to go for the equestrian throne? Where will she strike next? In the meantime, all cities are advised to take extra security measures, and all citizens to report anything suspicious or out of the ordinary. Princess Celestia sighed and folded a copy of the evening paper, laying it on the evening table, a picture of Twilight standing in front of a black storm cloud facing up. She put her foreheads together, gathering her thoughts. Well, Applejack said, her voice cutting through the silence. On the bright side, old Equestrian will have their guard up. Might make it a little harder for that snake to hide. The 7 ponies, and Spike, were gathered at the table with Princess Celestia, having arrived a few hours ago to tell her and Luna what had happened in Clydesdale. After Applejack revealed that they had discovered the museum, Luna excused herself to the library to do some research on her own. The dying light of the evening sun fell through the glass windows of the dining hall, bathing in an orange glow. Empty dinner plates sat around the table. The earlier events of the day had left everyone with an appetite. Celestia's small dinner salad, however, remained untouched. She was too busy digesting everything she had been told. She knew Twilight and her friends had been in dangerous situations before. It didn't stop her from worrying about them. However, in hindsight, forcing Twilight's friends out of the sky seemed like an almost amateur move. There were several other ways the situation could have been handled. Any pony getting gravely injured was a high probability. Was it merely a test for Vesper Radiance to see what she was up to? Celestia sighed again and opened her eyes, focusing on nothing in particular. That may be true, Applejack, but we still don't know what she looks like. Taking out the amulet, she could easily blend in the crowd. Applejack deflated a bit. Rat. Unclasping her hose, Celestia raised a hoof to her head, massaging the temple. Lifetimes of literature destroyed, and a terrorist on the loose. The governors and tabloids are going to have a field day with Luna and I. She looked at each of them in turn. Regardless, I'm grateful you're all safe. And we have a lead where the temperance crowd lies hidden. Twilight nodded. Las Pegasus. Or at least somewhere in that general area. But it's a start. Hopefully we can find some trace of Captain Gale's descendant. If my hunch is correct, he's an heir to the Commanded Hurricane, since only his family lineage knows where the crown is. Your hunch is correct, Twilight Sparkle, a formal voice called. Let us step back into the room, a thick book flowing behind her. She stopped at the front of the table and dropped the book open to a page showing an old picture of Captain Gale. It was a deep shade of blue and had an impressive brown goatee to match his mane. Luna slid the book over to Twilight, and turned her around and began reading the biography next to the picture. After you tell us what transpired, I thought to do some research of my own, Luna said. The records show that Gale is a part of the Hurricane's bloodline. If you turn the page, you'll see that it continues even further, ending about 100 years ago. Spy flipped the page, finding smaller articles about some of the children and grandchildren who came after Gale. They had lived less than extraordinary lives, and thus did not get a whole page to themselves. Once he thought about 3 generations down, a mayor named Dizzy Duster, the entries on his bloodline stopped. Dizzy Duster had died almost a century prior, bore no foals. So he quickly flipped back and forth through the book, trying to find any other relatives, distant or close, who carried on their current time. Unfortunately, she found none. Twilight looked up at Luna, hoping she had some additional news to share. Luna, however, shook her head. This is all we found, Twilight. Every saga must come to an end somewhere. Great, Twilight groaned, closing the book. All this confirms is that Gale and Hurricane are related, but no one from their bloodline is alive today. She sighed. So unless we can find a way to talk to one of them, we're stuck. Spike poked Sunset on the shoulder. You don't think we could use your hourglass to go back in time and ask where the Tempest Crown was in, do you? Sunset looked at the timepiece on the table and frowned. You want to ask it? Because I tried to use it when we were following and it ignored me. Starting to think I may have won a one-way trip. Don't worry, Sunset. We'll get you home. Twilight said with a reassuring smile. Right now, we need to focus on the present. Even if we do go to Las Pegasus, where do we go from there? Assuming that every pony in the Hurricane bloodline told their children where the Tempest Crown was, that would potentially put Dizzy Duster as the last to know. And if she did sell some pony, that pony could be any pony, anywhere. Twilight threw her hose in the air. Ugh! Since he tells me Vesper Radiance already knows where to go. Well then, why don't we just follow her? Pinkie asked. Everyone fell silent as everyone turned to look at her. Celestia looked at her head. A smile tugging at her lips. Why, Pinkie Pie, that idea is so simple it just might work. Rainbow took pause for fixing her recently recovered wings and skeptically asked, You could? When Celestia saw Rainbow's sprained wings, she quickly healed them with a glow from her horn. We were doing the same with Fluttershy's. Celestia offered to heal Sunset's cheek, but Sunset refused. Rainbow continued, No offense, Your Highness, but you said it yourself. If Vesper takes the amulet off, finding her in a big city would be impossible. If she took it off, and even if it did, she would keep her near at all times, was maybe the best way to track her. Celestia stood up from the table, knowing Rainbow Dash's, along with everyone else's, face of confusion. She walked over to the main window of the dining hall and gave a view of the statue guard and royal headsmaids. Ethereal moon, waving softly as she stepped. You see, Rainbow Dash, magic always leaves some sort of trace, or even a beacon at times. When the corner rise, Celestia saw Twilight and Sunset's mouths to make O's of comprehension. Celestia smiled at the brilliance of her 2 students. For everyone's benefit, she continued. Every magic has a signature that could potentially be followed, almost like the way a dog would follow a particular smell back to a familiar place. If you went back to Cloudsdale, you would probably find Vesper Radiance's or the Unicorn Amulets signature all over the cloud that was once the library. Oh, I get it, Rainbow grinned. We just have to follow the massive trail to Vesper Radiance and BAM! We got our terrorists! Twilight raised a hoof. Not quite, Rainbow. You see, the only way magic would lead to an actual trail is if Vesper was passing spells every few feet from here to Las Pegasus. But, so yeah, seeing Rainbow's expression turn bitter. Like Celestia said, magic does leave a trace, some more powerful than others, and some traces take a while to disappear. Magical artifacts have a very strong beacons of magic. Take a while to advance. It's like a hot stove that takes a while to cool off. Sunset was grinning from ear to ear. Instead of an exciting tone, if we use a homing spell, we can find the amulet signature and find Vesper Radiance. She turned to Twilight. That's what you meant when you told me to follow the Unicorn Amulet. If we get to Las Pegasus and put our magic together, we could create a target field that would cover the whole city. No way she could hide from us. What? Why can't we just do that from here? Ebzek asked. Luna answered, We only hone in from the magic from so far away. We got this. It's the most sound plan. For now, the only one we have. She looked over at Pinkie Pie. Magnificent idea, Miss Pie. Pinkie looked up from the bowl of ice cream she had just received from one of the kids' snap ponies. I get my moments, she said before diving into her dessert, face first. Indeed, Luna said, ignoring Pinkie's poor table manners. She stood up, joined by Celestia at the window, watching the last rays of the sun sink below the horizon. The light from Celestia's horn faded as the sun completed its transition. Luna then lit her horn with a soft blue light, One by one, the stars lit up across the night sky, coating the black canvas like glitter. Somewhere on the other side of the castle, the moon had risen to replace the sun, bathing the world in a soft glow. Castle servants quickly came to the dining hall and lit the candelabras along the wall before clearing up the dinner plates. Celestia turned to face the pony sitting at the table. Well, now that we have the next part of our plan, I suggest we all go and rest up. Tomorrow we can. Actually, Princess, Sunset interrupted, I think we should leave tonight, as soon as possible, in fact. Really? Celestia asked, surprised at Sunset's eagerness to leave. You don't think we should wait until tomorrow? We all had a rough day. No, Sunset said curtly. Waiting would only give Vesper Radiance more distance between us. It'll almost take a day to reach Las Pegasus by airship. If we left tomorrow, she would have a 2-day lead. But I wish she could have already have whatever information she needed to be on her way. We have to keep pace. Luna looked down from Sunset to Celestia. She is right, sister. If we tarry, we risk the chance of losing her. This is not something we can afford at this point. Celestia looked Sunset in the eyes, whereupon Sunset looked away. Celestia raised a curious eyebrow, but dismissed Sunset's behavior, addressing the rest of the group instead. Well, it is the most sensible course of action. Unless any of you have qualms you wish to discuss? They all looked at each other in turn, silently asking if any of them had issue with the plan. When no one said anything, Celestia made for the door, forcing everyone to follow her. Very well then, let us make haste. Hopefully we can still find an airship captain willing to find it at this hour. The carriage ride from the castle to the airship dock was a quiet one, and it had taken 2 carts to transport everyone. Sunset sat with Pinky, Rainbow, Applejack, and Fluttershy in the back carriage, not wanting to sit with Celestia. The whisper in Sunset's head had already thrown a hissy fit during dinner. The carriage rattled along the dirt road, departing from the city proper, heading towards a remote location. The scenery changed for luxurious purple and gold tiled houses, quaint cottages and scarred trees. The road eventually began to run along the mountain face, turning to view but nothing but rock. Sunset pulled away from the window facing the mountainside. So, Sunset tried breaking the quiet atmosphere, so as he could tell her friends were growing tired. Any of you flown an airship before? They all shook their heads, and Applejack said, Nope. Anywhere I'll lay to, I'll usually take a trolley. Besides, those things cost a fortune to ride in. It's kind of pointless when you have these, Rainbow said, showing off her wings. Wait, have you ever ridden one? A couple of times, actually, Sunset said, remember fondly. My parents like to go on vacation every summer, so we take trips to different places. We rode an airship to Baltimore and to Niagara Falls. Oh, that sounds lovely, Fluttershy cooed. I heard the view from the falls is breathtaking. Sunset nodded. It really is. One of the best views in Equestria. My pictures, I'd love to show you guys. Carriage came to a halt in front of a cathedral-looking entrance to the mountains. It was all white marble with steps leading up to a tall bronze door. The Yalicorn statue stood embedded in the rock face on both sides. The guards who had been pulling into the carriage unhitched themselves and opened the compartment door, helping the mares out. Sunset stepped out and walked over to the other side of the road, peering over the cliff. Down below her was an enormous steel platform that curved around the mountain. Tethered to a tall metal poles along the edge was a flotilla of airships, ranging in size, shape, and color. This is the Cantrell Air Dock. Sunset heard Celestia speak. Everyone else had joined her along the edge, all of them fascinated by the view. Beyond the marina, Equestria stretched out in front of them, cloaked in a blanket of night. The outlines of the hills and mountains barely visible. Come, this way, Celestia said, heading towards the large bronze door. Beyond it was a large lobby, brightly illuminated by a chain of golden chandeliers. The floor was a reflective marble, much like the type at Carolot Castle. Sofas, tables, potted plants decorated the interior, giving it a homely feel. Blue ribbons hung from the tops of the white columns lining the wall. Celestia stepped up to the mahogany desk, where a young pink mare with a yellow mane was sitting, filling out the paperwork. Celestia cleared her throat in the mirror and said, Sorry, but we have no outgoing flights for tonight. She hadn't bothered looking up from her desk. Yes, but this is a royal emergency, Miss Earhart, Celestia said gently. Earhart looked up and stammered, But Princess Celestia, Luna, Twilight, please forgive me, Your Highnesses. She slipped the papers off her desk and put her hose together, giving them her best smile. How may I help you? We need the fastest airship to Las Pegasus. I know this is short notice, but as I said, it's an emergency. Oh no, princesses. We can get something arranged. Just wait here, your majesties. Earhart quickly scuttled from around her desk and down the hall, disappearing behind one of the many doors. Reddy sits in on her house, looking nervous. I know it's a little late to be bringing this up, but is flying an airship at night really safe? She looked between Celestia and Luna. Fear not, my little pony, Luna answered. Flying at night is no more dangerous than flying today. You'll have the stars to help guide you, and the expertise of a well-trained captain. Earhart soon returned with a new Pegasus right behind her. It was dark blue, almost black, with a purple mane and a compass cutie mark. He gave the ponies a quick smile, in which, in Sunset's opinion, almost looked like a grimace. This is Skychopped. Earhart gestured towards him. He's agreed to fly you to Las Pegasus, one of our newer captains, but he can certainly get the job done. New? Verity asked, voice laden with apprehension. How new are we talking?
I graduated from school last year,
Skycharts answered. I see. And by any chance have you piloted the night?
Well, not that I know, no.
Verity nodded. I see. Mrs. Darling, like a nice coat and a promising captain. But we're running a very delicate operation. In no offense to you, dear, but I feel touch more safe if we had someone with a little more experience escorting us. Earhart frowned. I'm sorry, miss. But Skychart here is the most experienced captain we have on staff right now. Everybody else has gone home. I'm still lucky to find him here. Verity folded her ears. I see. Skychart flattered her and another smile.
Don't worry, I promise I can get you where you need to be.
Verity didn't look all that reassured. Sunset couldn't fully blame her. Skyshark seemed nice enough, but he displayed an air of newness that made Sunset feel like perhaps he wasn't up for the job. Sunset tried assuaging her fears. One simple fight, and most of it was over flatline anyway. What could possibly go wrong? I really hope I didn't think that. Oh, don't put us any concern. Follow me to the arena so we can get prepped and ready, Earhart said, leaning down to the blue carpet. He entered through a large door and began descending down a spiraling ramp, advancing out into the cliffside platform where the airships were docked. The wind moaned loudly across the deck, creating a cold draft that made most of the ponies shiver. Earhart took him to a small blue ship with blue trimmings, a severed overall seat balloon. Two large, fin-like wings extended from both sides of the ship. The propeller lined the back. It floated over the open valley, moored to a metal pole behind it. Painted in gold letters was her name, Blue Moon. Skyshark nodded to Earhart and flew up to the ship, disappeared behind the railing. Earhart turned to everyone else. You should finish with preparations shortly. I'll contact Las Pegasus and tell them your arrival time will be in 8 hours. Anything else you need? Celestia beamed at her. No, Miss Earhart, you've done a wonderful job. Thank you. Earhart bowed. Of course, Princess. She bowed to Luna and Twilight before retreating into the building. Twilight stepped around to Celestia's front. Here, Princess, she said, levitating off her saddlebags for a walk back. Could you not look at these for a while? The elements of harmony. Celestia asked, looking shocked. You don't want to take these with you? Twilight shook her head and looked at Princess Luna. You said it yourself. The elements might not even work out in the Dark Regalia. And after what happened to Cloudsdale, I think they'll be safer for you. Besides, we can't just hit Vesperanians with them. We can't? No, Twilight said flatly. She ought to be brought for justice and tried for her crimes first. Celestia smiled at her, taking the bag into her magic. Spoken like a true leader. Gangplank on her ship as Skyheart called, All hooves on deck, it's time to set sail. Safe voyage, Twilight. Be sure to send a letter when you arrived. Celestia said, embracing Twilight in a tender hug. I will, Princess. Celestia felt a combination of anger and envy boil in her stomach, but a deep sense of longing to replace it. A brief vision of her and Celestia hugging like that filled her sight, where Twilight replaced Celestia. Sunset shook it off, holding back a growl of frustration. Wanting to be alone for a minute, she walked up the gangplank and onto the deck of the ship. It was open space that rose up to the bow, where Skyshark should, waiting at the wheel. Towards the stern, 2 sets of chairs led up to a small quarterdeck. In between them was the door to the cabin, while another trapdoor sat in the middle of the deck, leading down to the interior of the ship. Above Sunset, the balloon floated, tethered to several points on the ship, and casting the entire deck in its shadow. Sunset walked over to Skychart. So, this thing can get us to Las Pegasus, right?
Hopefully, Skyshark muttered under his breath. I mean, yes. Don't worry, miss. I'm confident we'll make it there just fine.
Sunset gave him a highly doubtful look, but said nothing. Behind her, the rest of the group trotted onto the deck, taking in their surroundings. Skystar flew over and raised the gangplank and undid the anchor, allowing the ship to drift away from the platform. Flew back to the wheel and spun it to the left.
Next stop, Las Pegasus!
The soft hum of the ship's propellers filled the air, along with the flapping of the ship's wings. The blue moon flowed further and further away from Canterlot, but sunset could still see Celestia and Luna standing in the marina, waving farewell. Applejack gave a loud yawn.
It's like Sky Chart.
Any place we can hunker down for tonight?
Sky Chart gestured to that door. There are some captains down below. Make yourself comfortable.
Well, I don't know about y'all, but I'm hating the blade. Not much to do around here anyway. Applejack flung the door open and tried down the steps, disappearing into the darkness below. Yeah, sleep sounds good right now, Rainbow said, stretching her wings one more time before she followed Applejack downstairs. One by one, Sunset watched them descend the staircase, bringing it had been a long day, and a good night's sleep was something they all needed. Sunset, however, did not feel sleepy. She was tired, but not in a drowsy kind of way. She just wanted to sit and think. Twilight stopped halfway to the steps, poked her head over the doorframe. Are you coming to bed, Sunset? In a bit. I just want to admire the view for a while. Twilight hesitated for a moment, then said, Okay, good night. Day, Twilight. Sunset heard Twilight's footsteps fade out. She knew she and Skychart were the only two left on the desk. She was whistling a familiar tune as she stirred, paying little attention to the sunset. She actually preferred that way. She didn't feel like talking.